So, as you probably already know, the Panthers got absolutely blown out, 40-7. Now, I was going to do one immediately after the game, but I felt, no, there's going to be a whole lot of people talking about the game, and I want to have some time to kind of collect my thoughts about what transpired. Obviously, did not get off to the good lead. So first, I'm going to talk about some of the excuses that we can make, but then also offer at least somewhat of a solution for how we get past this. So obviously, the first drive. Driving down the field, heck, you get Miles Sanders on the end around. He takes it up the field. Dalton finds Deontay Johnson down the field. We get down to like the 26, and it's 3rd down and 9 from the 25-yard line. You're in field goal range. You're all good. We decided to do a screen to Miles Sanders. Now, it is on both Miles and also on Dalton for this. Miles not turning the right way. Dalton throwing a bad pass. It gets picked up by Dante Fowler, and poorest attempt of a tackle by Dalton. It's a pick six. Instead of being up 3-0, we have the lead. We're not a very good team as it is. We put ourselves in a hole 7-0. And that's even before Jaden Daniels comes on the field, and then we'll talk about that. As the game continues on, it goes to 10-0. Jaden Daniels goes out. He has a rib injury. Now it's Marcus Mariota in there. So it is 10-0. We're, down at the Commanders, but it's Marcus Mariota. It should be fine. Here's the problem that a lot of people aren't talking about. We are a team that will only survive this year if we do not hurt ourselves. And we definitely did this game. Andy Dalton, I don't know what he was thinking on that second interception, but it's picked up by Emmanuel Forbes, gets returned to the 35. Now, granted, the Commanders don't do anything with it, but it's another blow to us. It's another, knock to his confidence. And in that instant, we are putting ourselves in a hole. We don't do anything on the next drive. And then Marcus Mariota going against our defense, which, let me just talk about our defense for a second. The fact that J.C. Horn is the only healthy starter that we have is remarkable. I love J.C. Horn, but the fact that the past 3 years he has been injured all the time, it is so ironic that all the injuries that we've had, he's the one that's healthy. And I'm glad he is. Like I said, I'm glad he is. But our whole entire defensive line, we don't have Jatavian Clowney for this game. We obviously don't have Derek Brown. We haven't had him since week 1 because he, tore his meniscus. And, we also are having, problems on the other edge, and we're having problems on their defensive tackle spot. Because, A'Shawn Robinson's a little bit banged up. He's coming in and out. And then we have rotational players being our starters. So when you have rotational players being your starters at defensive line, you can't get really any pressure, which unfortunately puts a lot of pressure on the linebackers, which, oh, by the way, we don't have Shaq Thompson for the rest of the year. Josie Jewell wasn't in there, so you're relying on Chandler Wooten, who, I loved as an Auburn fan. Is he the best? No. He's more so a practice squad or a special teamer. And then you got Trevin Wallace, who I'm hoping and praying that he gets better and better, more and more time that he plays, but he's still a rookie. And then on the back end, I think it's mainly because of the fact we couldn't really get it pressure. We got 1 sack, but it was barely a sack. And Marcus Mariota still has scrimmaging ability, but they have good wide receivers, and nobody could cover. It was so frustrating to watch. So many 3rd and 15s, 3rd and 9s just get converted at all times. There's a point where you can also see in the game where the defense just looks dejected. And part of that falls on leadership. So part of this is definitely going to fall on coaching. Part of this is also going to fall onto the leaders of the defense to not step up. But this was embarrassing. This was truly embarrassing. So that's all the excuses from the game, talking about like, no, how we're depleted. But here's the solution. Are we going to do anything this season? Probably not. So the only way as a Panthers fan that you can look forward to the season is just evaluation. Okay? Yes. Does it suck? Absolutely. I'm not trying to say that all Panther fans who are complaining are, they're not vindicated, because they are. Because this was embarrassing. Is it the most embarrassing loss we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years? No. No. Do we go back to Bryce? Maybe eventually, but I also will say that this is one of the really, really bad games that we're going to have this season. I don't think is going to keep on getting. I don't think we're going to have like another 40-7 game this season. I think just everything went wrong. But I wouldn't put Bryce in just yet, especially on against the Broncos defense next week, because that's going to be atrocious if we think anything's going to happen, carry over from this game to next game. Why would we want to put Bryce for that? So, all about evaluation. Obviously, I am an optimistic Panthers fan. So some people are going to say I'm unrealistic or whatever, but I can at least see a vision. I can see a vision of, yes, this season was going to be bad. We tried to do patchwork on the defense to really improve the offense, because this class has a very, very deep defensive line and defensive edge class. When I say that, yes, I'm already thinking about next season. I'm already thinking about the offseason. I'm already thinking about free agency, which is a terrible thing to do when you've already given up on the season. But what else are you supposed to do? We're not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to really compete the division. We might steal a game or two. But in the end, we're going to be a definite top 10 pick. More than likely a top 3 pick. It just depends on how the rest of the season goes. But I want Panthers fans to realize that, yes, this seems like rock bottom right now. More likely it is. But there are going to be changes to be made. There are some players that are definite, they're going to be here for the long haul. Obviously, Derek Brown's going to be one of them. But expect changes to be made before the trade deadline to get assets. I don't know who it's going to be, but more than likely it's going to be somebody. And try to trust. I know it's hard. We dealt with the Scott Fitter and the Matt Rule situation. I understand. I trusted that, and it completely blew up in our faces. But you have to try to keep a positive outlook, because if you are all the time negative, then it's going to carry over into the team. Because even though players say they don't look at like what the fans say or whatever, they'll still hear some of it. And I'm not saying be totally positive. That's a stupid way to be a fan. But try to realize that it's a first season head coach. It's a first season GM. We're trying to get things together after what this roster was with Scott Fitterer. So hang in there. I think that's the best way that I could possibly put it. But it can get better. We've seen it get better in the past as a Panthers fan. If you want to go 2001, 2002, 2003, I wasn't a fan then yet, but a lot of other fans were. Could we have that progression? I don't know. I mean, stranger things can happen, but you can at least have the faith that Dan Morgan was a part of that process when he was a player. So hopefully you're just hoping that something like that can occur. I'm hopeful. I'm not, quitting on my team, because, I think that's a dumb thing to do. But I'm also looking strictly as this rest of the season as an evaluation to see which players to keep, which players to trade, which players to cut. Basically, who is supposed to be, in the long haul. I will still be streaming certain Panthers games that I can. Even though we will probably lose, I still want to show my support for the team, show support for the players. You don't have to show support for, you know, whoever you felt like slighted by, if you feel slighted by the owner, you're justified by that. If you feel slighted by Dave Canales not being, you know, the boy wonder in the first season, you can feel slighted about that. But I'm still going to support my team. You don't have to go to the games, because I definitely can't. But I'm still going to support my team and hope that they do better, and not hope to tank. Because I think that's the worst thing as a franchise we can try to ask for, is to tank. Because that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't prove that we're going to be a winning organization because we tanked. So all this to say, it was a tough loss. It was a not really a humbling experience, because how much more humble can you actually get when you're already down low? Hopefully it's a learning point. Hopefully it's a, hey, we got embarrassed and this is not us. And hopefully the locker room comes together. I don't know. I'm hoping that leadership can steer this in the right direction, that even if we don't win, we still look competitive like we have the last couple of games, even though the Bears one wasn't good. But Atlanta, at least we were in there for till the mid of the fourth quarter. Andy Dalton throws an interception, which, like I said, we're not that kind of team that can handle that. So, yeah, Bryce will probably be in after the bye week, if I had to guess, more than likely. But like I said, season evaluation, that's pretty much all we can hope for. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you're a Panthers fan, you can voice your, even if you're not a Panthers fan, you can voice your frustration in the comment section. I'll comment anything that I also see that, I'm either agree with, or like, if people ask me a question, I'll, expand upon what I think of this Panther season. Also of note, I'm still working on a full-length Panthers video about how we got here. Still working on that script, so that's probably going to be until when we're totally, I'll probably release that when we're totally eliminated from playoffs or after the season. I'm trying to decide which one would be better. But yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. Welcome to the channel. I'm a sad Panthers fan.